I got a new one, guys. Boom. It's a little boy's axe head, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. It's got a white oak haft with more flaws than me, with occlusions and knots and inclusions. Here, this is a bad place for a knot on the shoulder. There's an inclusion, but looks like sound wood. And look at the grain, like it's very funky. I think there is some end-to-end growth. It's hard to tell. It's hard to kind of look at it all. It's a little overwhelming. So we got a cherry wedge in there. I didn't smooth this out yet. It kind of doesn't look as good as it could. Not bad. I mean, look at this profile for a boy's axe. That's nice. That's nice and fat. Not too shabby, right? 2 pounds 8 ounces. Pitting is an interesting feature. It looks beautiful. It shows age. It shows that this has aged considerably in a harsh environment. To me, that's pretty cool. You know, it's like when a foster kid becomes a professional baseball player or something. Here's my little foster kid. I can't get over what I just said. So the reason why pitting is an interesting feature to me is because it might actually have some disadvantages. Dirt gets stuck in there, and if you look at your axe and you go, "There's dirt in my pits," in my pits, there's dirt. It can be a little annoying to some people. It doesn't really matter. I mean, maybe inside those pits it'll get a little rusty. The only thing about this axe is the edge. The steel doesn't seem like the greatest steel in the world. It kind of isn't holding up amazingly well to this edge angle. I'd imagine it's low 20s. Let me get you. There we go. You can see it. It doesn't look too bad. I didn't put a banana grind on it though, which is, to me, that's the best grind you could put. I did some interesting things with the swell. Let me show you. It doesn't have much sweep up, but you can see that it does have a nice taper and has a decent hook, and it feels pretty good. Let me see. Where do I feel it the most? I think this is where I could do some improvements, because on my pinky I feel a little bit of something. It's interesting with palm swells. You have to do it. You have to shape them for your own hands through trial and error. And just because you get one right doesn't mean you'll get the next right. And this is good enough, though. I don't think people would complain about this, but you know, my preference, it might have a little bit of a hot spot here. I don't know if I have to round over more or maybe take this off. These, like, they're almost like little pseudo corners. What else I want to talk about? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about tool marks and little parts of this that aren't perfect. This is how I see handles. I see 100-year-old homemade handles that have tool marks, and you see that that divot. It's rough. That was a void in the lumber. I just had to kind of work around, and as you can see, it doesn't look like perfect lumber. Like, it didn't smooth out like everything else. I like this. I like that because it's what people used to do. They didn't make it perfect looking. They made it perfect feeling, or as close to perfect feeling as they needed before they could use it. And that's kind of my style, I think, at least for the axes I make for myself. When I make an axe for someone else, I try to make it to the best of my ability. If they want tool marks, I'll talk to them about that, though, because there is some historic significance to it. Plus, some people want a little more grip down here, so I keep this part a little rougher sometimes. This is usually the smoothest part of the handle for me. And also up at the shoulder, because I like to hold axes up here, and I'll do some carving, or maybe if I fire making or anything like that, I like to hold it up at the shoulder. This is why the shoulder is so important. It's another important area, just like the swell. So obviously you want the axe to be, the handle to be thin enough, but you also want the most important areas to be comfortable. Because not only is this where I might do some work, this is where you just hold the axe to be safe. Especially with heavier heads, you really got to make sure you have the weight close to your hand, close to your top holding hand. That'll keep you real safe, keep everyone else safe too. If you have a dog around you and you're holding your axe like this, the dog might go under the axe. So I kind of like to go like that or that, but I always have the weight near my hand. Easier to control. Let's compare this boy's axe to this boy's axe though. This is an old Killinger handle. Well, all of them are old now. This is really a great little boy's axe, but look how much thinner it is. This is pretty thick for a boy's axe. I think this is a quarter pound lighter though. You can see the style of wedging I used to do too. So it's much more proud. You can see how much tongue is coming out of this one, how much tongue is coming out of this one. Historically, few axes in America were proud, apparently, especially if it has that taper. So the top of the eye, the top of the hole is wider than the bottom of the hole, the eye. And because of that, all you got to do is have this wedge spread these two parts of the tongue apart like that, and it's all locked in. It's all locked together. So you don't need to have wood protruding out of the top of the eye if it's correctly tapered. Now, if you have something like this, which has a small top of the eye, as you can see, it looks like it's smaller because it is. It would be a good idea to stick some tongue out of that. You know, going proud is a good idea for one of those. That's like Pennsylvania Dutch eye, something like that. Let's check out the handles though. Look how much more curve there is here. I do like some curve, but I'm not a big fan of a ton of curve. That might not even be functionally. It might just be what I prefer aesthetically. Yeah, look at the difference. Hold on, let me try to line these up. Look at the difference. That's a big difference there. Wow. I did overstrike this. I've shown this in videos prior, but I did mess this one up, so I haven't been using it as much. But really liking these shorter handles. This is only 26 inches. It's my worst. It was probably the worst white oak lumber I've used for a handle. But I've swung it, it's held up, it's been fine. Profile over pattern. The reason why I say this is because some people will see a pattern and they'll say it does this the best, or it'll do this, and that's what it's for. Well, it gives you a general guideline. So a Jersey axe usually has a wide bit, and so they're good for bucking. They're good for limbing. But if you look at this, this is the overhead profile. This is what I mean when I talk about profile over pattern. You could see it's pretty thin. This is not a splitting axe, right? This has lugs. It's not a Jersey pattern, but very similar. If we look at this, we'd say, okay, that bit is sort of wide. Maybe this is also a limbing axe. It is not. This is a splitting axe, most likely. I mean, you could limb and you could buck with this. It would actually be a pretty good bucking axe. Look how big that pole is, though. I'm sure this was like a felling. It was probably used for everything back in the day. It's pretty heavy. It's 4 3/4. Bucking Billy Ray, I really do think he did. He probably popularized this pattern for splitting. Not all of them are splitters, though. Let me show you. Anyway, this took about 10 minutes to find. This is why I don't need to buy more axes. If I can't find an axe, man, that was brutal. So this is a Tasmanian pattern from Elwell, an English 4.5. As you can see, that is for cutting. This is not a very thick axe in the cheeks. Like right here, that needs to be a little thicker for this to not stick. This is another Tassie. This is a high test, what is it, a Craftsman? High test Craftsman, 4.5. I think this might have been in a fire, because I don't know if the edge is too good on this. It's also sort of thin. Let's see, but you can see it's thicker though. You see it's thicker. Just a little bit thicker. And I'll go back to that other, if I can find it. Now here's a shorter, stubbier Plumb, weighs about 4 pounds. Look at the thickness of this bit. You can see it right away. Here, I'll line up the bits. See how much thicker it is all throughout? This is going to be a better splitter. Now, it has a shorter bit. Maybe it was worn. I'll show you how much more wear, or how much less length on the bit there is. Look at all that. So that's like, you know, inch, a little more than an inch more bit. So length is from here to here. So the pole to the bit, to the edge of the bit, that's length. And I always try to say this because there could always be newcomers viewing. So the width of a bit, this is the heel of the bit. The bit is just the edge, the knife edge of an axe. This is the heel, the bottom of it. I didn't say this last time, and I felt really dumb about not saying it. The heel is the bottom of the axe. So the handle goes in through the hole here. This is the heel of the bottom, and this is the top of the bit, which is called the toe. And you'll hear people say it has a lot of toe wear. Toe wear just means that there was damage to this part of the bit, and the only way to remove that damage is to remove metal, and it'll look uneven like this, so it'll drop down. So I like to, when we're doing a restoration, I always like to say bit correction will really make your axe look a lot better. So when it looks like this, that's pretty bad. When it looks like this, you can't really tell as much for some reason, but when you hold it like this, you can really tell there's a lot missing. So what you do is you try to make it so it looks like what it looked like, the same kind of curve from the factory, or at least you get it to look as right as you can. So this is why I say profile over pattern. You can't just say I'm buying a Tasmanian pattern, it'll be a great splitter. You've got to look at the profile. Profile over pattern. Okay? I want that to stick. I want that to like go through people's heads. I would love that to spread. Because it was something that I might have made mistakes with. Now what the pattern will tell you about a jersey is that the bit's going to be pretty wide, and the pole and with the lug, the eye is going to be very tall. So you'll need a longer shoulder or a longer tongue on your handle to fit these axes. So it's not just about, oh, there's a lot of friction and it's not going to come loose easily. It won't fly off the handle most likely. You also have to think about how I need a longer tongue on my handle so it can even fit. That was a big problem in the beginning, and why I have this lumber behind me is because it was just hard to find handles that were decently priced or really good, that had long enough handle tongues. This is a beauty. This is a Keen cutter with bevels, and has a 4-pound weight stamp on the pole. Always check the pole here for your weight stamps, and the bottom of the pole right here. Always check for weight stamps. People will just look here and maybe here, but don't forget the pole, because those are more uncommon and it could add a little bit of value to your axe. So here and here. Now I want to talk about new axes though. When it comes to new axes and when it comes to profile over pattern, just look at the profile. Because look at that. Look at the difference in craftsmanship between this high center line Nice fat wedging profile. Now this is not designed as an American axe. It's designed as like one of those kind of Swedish kind of things. I think this is from Ukraine, but it might be from Russia. Urban Lumberjack has talked about this before. So yeah, the funniest part about this axe, I've said this before, is this right here is higher than the center line. So it has the opposite of a high center line. It has a low center line, which actually could be some investigation done with that. You never know, but they didn't do this purposely. All of it's sharp. Like I could kill someone with this. This is an ice pick. There's no finish to it. You don't find old axes that are sharp right here. I mean, that's crazy. Sharp right here. Look how much extra steel on this eye there is. I mean, right here. What is this doing? What is that even for? What the fuck? So design-wise, looking at the profile over the pattern is also important. Because like, you don't want a concave axe if you're working on big hardwood lumber. I mean timber. If you're working with 8-inch diameter softwoods, okay, maybe this makes more sense. 8-inch and smaller. This is about 3 pounds, I think. If you don't know who made this, it was Beavercraft Tools. I had a little bit of a run-in with them, and they gave me an axe. It fell apart within 5 minutes. They gave me another axe. It fell apart within a couple minutes of cross-cutting. And I tried to give them advice, and it didn't work out. The communication didn't work out there, and then they just stopped responding when I asked if they've like done anything or if they've improved the axe, because they said they would send me another one. But you know, they don't give out axes to little guys like me and then care a ton. You know, they're just trying to spread the word about their product, and this is a really cheap way to market themselves. Like, instead of building their own YouTube channel, they just send out products to hundreds, maybe not thousands, maybe dozens or hundreds of little YouTubers, and so that spreads the word to, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I didn't even talk about the handle they put this thing on. Oh my god. I want to talk about, I mean, of course it's going to be bad lumber. They don't care about anything like that, but just look at the shape. Now, of course, as a real axeman, you know you might have to reshape a handle, but for $200, that's close to premium price. You probably shouldn't have to reshape it this much. I mean, it's just completely flat. It's just look how high it was hung. It was hung to like here. Let's see where it was hung. Look how big the shoulder is. So that's what you'll learn when you make your own handles, is oftentimes the shoulder will look really goofy unless you take a lot off. So you do want it to be a little bit bigger, so wider. You want the tongue to be wider this way, a little bit than where it's stuck, but not this much, because then it doesn't look finished, you know? I'll show you what I mean. So with this axe, you could see I did hang it a little bit high on the tongue. It's got some room to come down if I ever want to, but it's barely just a little higher than where the axe eye is sitting. So I'll remove a tiny bit more material if I pull it down. If it was like this, it would look stupid. The shoulder doesn't look right when you have too much right here. And that's not, it might be a little important, because if you ever watch Skill Colt's videos, I think he goes over this. Wherever there's a flexible part that meets abruptly with an inflexible part, that's a weakness and it could break easier. I believe he said that, and I do believe that. If you don't know who Skill Cult is, because he doesn't really post about axes too much anymore, to me, he's the axe father of YouTube. I learned a ton from him in the beginning. Before I ever got to, not even in the beginning, before I ever got to even hold an axe, I learned from Skill Cult. I really appreciate the videos he put out. He showed real world use of axes. And his challenges are actually still going on today. The One Tree Challenge, the Big Wood Challenge, the Low Stump Challenge. What else? I can't think of any other challenges, but I'm challenged mentally, so I put out my own challenges all the time. He was a very important figure on YouTube for axes, I think. To learn, you know, and I'm not talking about this as a celebrity. I'm talking about this as a guy who taught us things. I've learned from this man. I also just like his style. He's kind of like me in that I want things to function. Aesthetics aren't so important, but the great thing about axes, and I've talked about this with Kurt S before in the comments, is when they're shaped right, they just kind of look good. An axe handle just kind of looks good when it's shaped correctly. Now, messing with the shoulder, making it look like a tight ass, that's not exactly function. But it does feel good in the hand when you make it look like a tight ass. To me, this is not a tight ass. It could be shaped a little better. Let's see if I can find a tight ass. Here's a tight little tushy. Look at that tight little booty on this one. She's been working her glutes, if you know what I'm saying. This is a little J.K. Eldridge. Not a little one. Actually, it's kind of heavy. Probably more than 4 pounds. This is a rare axe. I only know of one other. And someone did a vinegar bath. I didn't do that. It also has a break, but really special axe. It's a pointy lug rockaway pattern. And this handle is also pretty special. It was on a really old plum round lug jersey. And when I did a handle match, so I matched this axe head to this old handle that had another axe on it. And when I put it on, it fit. I didn't do any wood shaving. I didn't do anything. I just put it on and wedged it. Isn't that amazing? It was made to be. It was fate. So this is a special one. It's got a tight little butt. Put my hand in there. Oh yeah, it's like I have a girlfriend. You can't see me making out with my... You ever just kiss a butt? Anyway, it's weird to say butt in that. Alright. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Talked about what I wanted to talk about. I did conflate discussions with tight little butts on your handle and Skill Cult. Sorry about that, buddy. So if you don't know of Skill Cult and you watch my videos, which is probably unlikely, check out his old axe videos. Just look up Skill Cult axe, and you will find a wealth of knowledge, experience. I wouldn't say they're exactly principles, but whatever his kind of operating system is, I really enjoy that. I think he's on the operating system I understand, and I kind of come from a similar place. I'm not to his level. He's like, you know, he's like got red stripes on his black belt, and I'm like a blue belt. So actually, I'm probably like a couple stripes on my white belt. I don't know if you guys know about the belt systems, but anyway, there we go. We got some axes. We got the love of axes here. Oh boy, I'm a little threesome right now. Her ass sucks. That's a beauty. I'll be paying attention to her. Fucking hell, what am I talking about? Alright, bye.